everyone, it is I, Gina, with the House of White, and today, finally, I believe it is March 12th, I'm doing the March Curio Cabinet Tour. Now, I know that March is associated with St. Patrick's Day and maybe spring or whatever, but for me, because I don't believe there is a sewing month, I have decided that March is going to be sewing and handicrafts month at my house and for my curio cabinet. So we are going to get started, and I have also brought out some of my mannequins and stuff that, well, they've got dresses on them because they just do, because I want them to. Anyway, all right, let's get into sewing and handicraft stuff, shall we? Yes, we shall. So we'll start up here with my collection of pin cushions. Yeah. So Edwardian and Victorian, I really like this one. I like the pink silk that is under the beautiful lace here. And then there's some stitching like one would put on a crazy quilt. And then it's just beautiful. And you can see all of the places where pins were stuck in and taken out. And then that one is a heart. And it, at one point in time, had a lot of velvet on it, but because it has been used so much, the velvet has worn off. And then this sweet little thing that could have been pinned to a lady's shirt, and then the ring below it would have held a pair of scissors, and then I should have gotten, oh, you know what? I'm such a dork. Hold on. There we go. A cute little pin cushion right there. So a very handy item to have for the seamstress. And then this right here is so cool. This probably could have been worn around the neck. I'm not sure. A lot of them I have seen have had the bone rings on them. These rings are metal, but isn't that just pretty? I think it's so beautiful. And down here, hold on, focus, there we go, would have been a place for needles and pins. I don't know if we've got two or just one. Yep, that's sewn together. But yeah, this was a pin cushion as well. Not sure what, hello. Come on, fingers, let's cooperate. Not quite sure what this part would have been. Oh, you know what? Probably to put scissors in. Isn't that a fun little pocket? Hello, large fingers. Or a thimble, maybe scissors, not sure. And then over here is a vintage crocheted pin cushion. Very lovely. And purple. I like the purple. And up there is, that was ribbon. And it would have been also a pin cushion. And these would have held things. I don't know, scissors, lots of scissors, many different kinds of scissors. Maybe she was an embroiderer. I don't know. And now down here, these are super neat to me because these were, this one and this one and this one back here were made by my great-grandma Cornelia and her mom. So these are quite old. Just think it's quite lovely how they decorated even the most simple things. So that is a log cabin quilt square that great-grandma turned into a pincushion. And then this is your typical tomato, and it is full of sawdust. And then love this one. Isn't this beautiful? It's a Victorian shoe, and then it has the velvet pin cushion right here. And then a fun vintage crocheted one. And this sweet little one, it looks 1930s. And then this is neat right here. This is a a needle sharpener. And when I took it out of the box, focus, there we go. When I took it out of the box, lead filings came out of this. And you can see it's been mended here, but yes, very cool. Oh, and then this right here. This is just a cube of pins. And of course, we can't talk about sewing without sewing machines. My sweet friend, Tatiana Millinery, donated this to me. Very neat. I think I'll have to do its own video on it because at one point in time, as you can see right here, it was a, oh gosh, the one that had the belt, a treadle sewing machine. And it was from the 1870s. Why did I not take notes? 1890s? Yeah, 1890s. And then they turned it into an electric sewing machine. So it's just beautiful. Here, let me move this. Very cool. So I'm thinking I'm going to do its own video to show you just how splendid it is. And then this is another sewing machine. This was given to me by my sweet friend Sherry Cutlers. And the cabinet is right there. So it is a portable one. And it is electric as well. And it won't, nope, yes, it is electric. Is it? I don't know. Probably. There's a light, so I'm gonna go with yes, it is electric. Oh my goodness. So very fun. And then I got this wonderful tuck maker from Return to Australia. I hope. I always get Return to and from. I believe it is to Return to Australia. But it's really cool. It hooks up to the sewing machine and helps make tucks. I might have to do its own video on that because that is super cool. Okay, so we're not going into depth on anything. I always want to, whenever I do these videos, really go into depth on everything, and I have to remember I can't. So here's just a few of my collection of embroidery floss. Oh yeah, I did a video on that when I did the embroidery floss holder. So, okay, we'll go through the outside and look into the curio cabinet. Yeah, just look at it through the window, and then we'll delve into the inside. All right, here we go. So throughout, I have placed some antique patterns like that one right there. And I've got 3 different crimpers, and I'll take those out at a different point in time when I talk about crimpers and how they work. But this is the oldest one. This is from 1875. Very cool. And that is how they made, they're called fluters or rufflers. Yeah, it's how they made the crimped or pleated, super tiny pleats for dresses. Very beautiful. I mean, the contraption itself is beautiful. And then they would have had, I call them slugs. I'm not sure that that is the correct, but they would have gone in here and heated this up. So when the fabric went through here and got crimped, the heat would set it in the fabric. Very, very fun. And then I got 3 different examples of, this is hem tape. And this again is would have been put at the bottom of the skirt. So there's gray and red and a beautiful brown. It would have hung out from the bottom of the skirt about less than 1/4 of an inch, and it would have protected the hem because this is rather, I want to say stout, that's probably not the right word, but it's thick and would have held up to being dragged along the street or wherever the lady walked better than a silk hem. And then I've got a selection of scissors, and this is fun. This is a scissor sharpener. Let's see. Kenberry Scissors Sharpener. And I've actually used this, and it does work. It sharpens my scissors. These were my Grandma Iva's. These, Actually came in a leather little pouch or holster or holder, but I wanted the scissors to be seen, so I took them out. And then these were mine from when I was growing up. And then we have a pair of crane scissors. Sure, we'll call them that. And then these, beautiful. I mean, look at, aren't they just stunning? Mom gave these to me, and I don't know if they were my great-grandma Nani's or from Mom's side of the family. Sorry, Mom. And then here we've got a selection of thimbles because, you know, you need thimbles if you're going to sew. And then this cute little shell thimble holder. And some, I almost said videotapes. Measuring tapes, there we go. And then this drawer actually came from a sewing machine cabinet. If a lot of people do like to deconstruct sewing machine cabinets so they can sell the drawers or make more money piecing it out, but I have it holding some thread, wooden thread spools, and then two rulers and a measuring tape. And then a JP and Coates Home Sewing Reference Book, and this looks cute. A JMP Coates Yoke and Gift for embroidery and crochet. And then, oh, right here, this is so fun. This lady right here on the left, her name is, seriously, her name just totally escaped my mind. May. So my great-grandmother, Hazel Prudence Palmer Chrysiser, that is May Palmer. That was her older sister. And here she is with some friends. This is her right here on the left. Here she is with some friends with their sewing mannequins. I think that is absolutely a splendid picture. I would say from the lady on the right's dress that I can see the best, perhaps 1918 to like 1921 would probably be when this photo is taken. Too cool. And then over here, can't see really well from the inside, so we'll go over here. This thread holder was my great-grandma Nani's. Well, sorry, Nani. We called her Nani. Hazel's thread holder, and it's made out of metal. And it opens in the middle there, and you pop your thread in, and you take the end out through the top, and that's how you keep it from tangling or rolling around on the floor, and it just keeps everything nice and tidy. And then we've got some really tiny embroidery floss. Look at that, how crazy. And then all in some bone and metal embroidery, nope, not embroidery, crochet hooks, and then a whole bunch of bone awls down in there. And then that to the People's Handbook series of Fancy Work Manual. And most of it is crochet. It's the things in there are just really beautiful. But I don't crochet, so... Okay, moving down here, this cute little spool of thread holder was given to me by my mom for Christmas one year. Isn't it darling? It collapses and then opens so that you can start easily. So cute. And then I love the graphics on this Rick Rack spool. She's so cute. And then pattern designing, I believe that is actually teaches people, not myself, because I don't do stuff like that. I like a real pattern. Come on. There we go. Pattern designing and draping. Yes, I definitely don't drape fabric into an article of clothing because it hurts my brain. Oop, come on. Here we go. Come on. Oh, you are going to be obtuse, aren't you? All right. And these are so fun. This sweet rainbow of little tiny buttons was found in the sewing machine of Cornelia Walters, my other great-grandma on my dad's side, which I do have her sewing machine cabinet in my storage unit. I just do not have room in this house for it. But these were found in one of the drawers, and they're just so beautiful. I especially love these green triangle ones. Oh, and then this right here, I actually used the items that were in this to make a 1920s basketball outfit. But because I love anything sailor. So I purchased that, and it is actually from the 1920s. Yes, the bottom down here does indicate that this was from the 1920s. And I have put a piece of paper behind it so that you can see it. But I also have these because I love MIDI. Isn't that cute? All this stuff to embellish a MIDI outfit. Oop, pardon me, my tummy. And of course it is sitting in a beautifully silk tufted sewing basket. Beautiful. And then this lady on the left, isn't she adorable? That is Hazel Prudence Palmer Chrysiser. And we called her Nani, and she's just lovely. This is from 1916, 1917, but as you can see, she's wearing a midi, as is her friend next to her. And she is actually the one that got me started loving antiques. And she was fantastic. I miss her so very much. And just some more. This is fun. These are anchor buttons. And then this is braid. This is military or Navy braid that I used to, you can see right here, they use the braid. And so I did use that on my basketball outfit, which I will put, you know, up here somewhere so you can see it. And then cards of buttons. These are so awesome. They're actually quite large. Let me see, I'll get this one instead. And they're, I believe they're silk buttons. And at one point in time, they were 10 cents a card. So I believe these to be Edwardian or even, you know, 19 teens, late 19 teens. But I'm going to go with Edwardian because of the graphics, which is one of the reasons why I do love button cards. Muscatine, Iowa. Oh my gosh. No, wait. Yes. Okay. So we're going to be talking about Muscatine, Iowa at a later date. So be looking for that because, oh my gosh, awesome. So here are some more buttons. These are crocheted. A lot of times they were crocheted over wood that was covered in silk. So those are very fun. I mean, look at, isn't that beautiful? And my heavens, that crochet is so small. And a beautiful, these are long. I love these. These are very large pin cushions. Oh, that lace is beautiful. And silk. They're just decorated quite lovely. And I believe this to be Victorian. And then we have suspender buttons. And at one point in time, there were a lot in them. Oh, 144, one gross. There you go. I did use them. I was costuming for guys and girls at NNU, Northwest Nazarene University, and I did use these to sew onto pants for the suspenders. So there are no longer one gross in there, but still they are quite fabulous. Okay, dropping down again and going outside. Here's another crimper, and it looks like it's a cheaper version of the one that I will show you on the other side. But here's this that these slide into, and then there's this. So yes, I do believe that this is a crimper as well. Or maybe these were the flat bits that this rolled over to crimp the fabric. I'm going to go with, yeah, that this was the flat part. Anyway, I do want to do a video on fabric crimpers. So again, be looking for that. And a tape measure and a sewing machine card. So a lot of times these would be distributed just advertising for the sewing machines. And then ladies would put these in their scrapbooks as scrap. So I think that was very fun that people did that for the ladies. And then again, this is, I believe I did a video on this. This is a Harper's Bazaar magazine that turned into an embroidery thread holder. So very cool. This is spectacular and a great family heirloom. This was my great-grandma Cornelia Walters. This was her sewing box, and she made this and painted it. And the cool thing about it, I'll be removing these. She made these two quilt squares that I turned into pillows. But do you see all of these papers down here? What are you? Okay, so these down here, these are her patterns for quilts, quilt patterns, quilt designs. So very cool. And she's named them. Oh, nope. Well, she named the pieces. So this is the center. It was probably a flower. But all of these down here are just bundles of what she would have used to make the patchwork quilts. And I feel so incredibly blessed to be the caretaker of these right now. I did know her for a wee little bit, but she died when I was rather young. Oop. And of course, I've got more patterns. This is from the 1890s, probably 1912, 1913, 1911, 1920s, and another 1920s. But I'm wanting to get in here. Oh, you are going to do that, aren't you? Yes, you are. But this is another quilt square that she made, and it's she did it on paper. And then when she was done, making it, she would have ripped it off. So I just think, how splendid. She made a ton of quilts. So many quilts, and I am blessed to have 3 of them. Okay, get back in there. There we go. Okay, over here we've got a selection of embroidery hoops. And I love that when they wouldn't hold the fabric taut enough, they would wrap the hoop. Oh, goodness gracious, I just moved something. Hold on. They would wrap the hoops in, not thread, fabric, so that it would continue to hold the fabric how they needed it to, tight enough. Very fun. Most of these are from my great-grandparents, my great-grandmothers. And then here is another fluter or pleater. And this would have sat on the stove and gotten hot. And then the fabric would have been fluted so that you would have the cute little really tiny pleats, or just that wavy, for the love of Pete. I'll get pictures and put it up there in the corner. I'm so sorry. Brain not working, words are hard. But yeah, this is quite another old one. I don't know the date for sure on it. I will tell you later. Okay, the last shelf is coming up, and in this sewing box we have hook and eyes. Very, very cool. And another antique pattern, and I'll get in here and I'll move back so that I can open the door. And I'll grab those hooks and eyes out, or one of them. These are quite large, quite sturdy. There we go, patent November 1st, 1892. So they're at least from the 1890s. And then in here, we've got some little hook and eyes. 1890, it's going to be 1896. And then here's another one. 10 cents, and these are white. Oh, very cool. And that's 1896 as well. Okay, and in this beautiful silk tufted sewing box, I have darners, egg darners. This one was from my grandma, my mom's mom. She used this. And so most of them are like this, and I love these. They look like, marbled paper is what they look like, what they remind me of. And then this is this design. So most of them are that egg design. Here's this design, and then this glass one, which is very lovely. Yeah, and then some socks, just, sock darners. Just thrown in there. In modern times, we get a hole in our sock and we just throw them away. But back then, they would actually use these to mend the socks so that they did not have to throw them away. And here is a small selection of my sewing needles and sewing machine needles in another sewing box. And this one, again, was from Nani Hazel. I love this book. It is leather, and it opens up and has needles in it. 1914, made in Czechoslovakia. That's cool. Oop, come on, cooperate. There we go. And as you can tell, she did use them. And then this is a sweet one. I can't remember who this one belongs to. I know it was family, but Crowley's. Downton Abbey. We have tapestry needles, crewel needles, darners, another crewel, and a chantilly. Nope, chenille. And they are made in England. Some more marbled paper. Very pretty. Just a nice selection. I do like the books, and I know that I have more. I just can't find them, but I love the graphics. Look at that airplane. How cool. The Army Navy Needle Book. Awesome. Let's open that up. Oh, very cool. Silver steel. 1, 3, 5, and 7. Awesome. Sorry. Let's keep moving on, Okay, here's another cute little needle holder and a bodkin. Isn't that pretty? Crocheted on the outside, silk ribbon, and then wool on the inside that somebody thought was a tasty treat. And some more embroidery floss. Okay, that is all for the cabinet, but I've decided that since I have quite a bit of sewing stuff that I would spread it out over here as well. But right down here, I love these sewing baskets, and I know they dated to the 1920s because I do have a 1920s catalog that sells these in them. I'm pretty sure they are older into the Victorian era. Aren't those pretty? Don't know what that material is. Might be glass? I don't know. Very pretty. And then in here is just some quilt squares. But yes, a lady would have just kept all of her sewing things in here, and it would have made it easy just to carry it around. So she didn't have her sewing stuff, you know, spread out all over the place. Okay. Over here in this sewing box, yes, this right here, if you know Wearing History and the Gina dress, this is the pattern that the Gina dress was created from. That was a fun story. Still appreciate Lauren for making this because I wanted to make it, and it was a size bust 32, and I think I was that size when I was 12. But there are more patterns in here. I love this one. Again, the graphics are just so sweet. These are from the 1930s. And then I've got some 1920s dress patterns in here. Another 1930s. This is probably 1916. Come on, you. There we go. And these are embroidery. Pretty. I love swallows. Embroidery patterns. And then back here, this is I don't know how it was used just because I have never used one. But this is a perfect tailor system for cutting. You could have used this to make garment sleeves, collars, etc. And it was just a tailor dress cutter, which I think is absolutely fantastic. Don't know how to use it, but it has to do with sewing, so I had to have it. Oh, goodness. Okay, so while we're down here, I'll go over here. This is so sweet. My mom, Lana Maureen Patterson, made this when she was in 4-H, and this kept her Oh, yep, there's the 4-H insignia. But she used this to keep sewing items in. And one day she let me have it. And so it is a very precious family heirloom. I've got another very large pin cushion right here. It is, again, the silk covered with crochet. The embroidery floss holder, and this right here is a pattern, believe it or not. So we have these patterns right here and our modern day patterns that we know about. But at one point in time, ladies used these as well. Let me see, I'm going to try and totally open it without hurting it. There we go. To show you how big it is. Now this came in a French magazine. Okay, there we go. Ha ha ha. Can you imagine? I'm going to turn this around. Tra-la-la. Very gently because it's very fragile. Okay. So over here, you have the different pattern pieces. That's a sleeve. And then that's a sleeve with bodice pieces. And right here you have like a line and some dots and some squiggles. And you would figure out 76. Let's see, view 80. So view 80 right here is a sleeve. And so you would have to find this darkened bolden line over here. So you come over here and you try and find that bold line. Okay, here it is right here. Right here. Oh, that doesn't look right, does it? That's weird. Oh, here it is right here. But anyway, you would find the pieces or the lines that correlated with your pattern pieces, and you trace those out. And not only did you have to find them and trace them out, you had to make them larger to your size, because this right here, that would be really super tiny. So yeah, ladies used this right here, this pattern, believe it or not, to make dresses. I'm going to just leave this the way it is and show people. I'm not even going to attempt to make this. And another fun thing is they had embroidery patterns in here as well. So the lady could take these and embroider on the dress or on a pillow or wherever she chose to use embroidery. Isn't this crazy? My gosh, there's no way. Thank the Lord for simplicity and Butterick and McCall's, right? Okay, back over here. Oh, right. The cute little thing that was holding all of these sewing implements is this sweet little, yarn holder for crochet or, knitting. There we go. It's just super cute, and it does fold up, and look at that fun fabric. And it's quite small, so I'm not sure if it was for a little girl or just a petite yarn holder. All right, over here to this mannequin. I think these are so fun because you see Battenberg lace and how beautiful it is, but I never knew how it was made until one day at the Antique World Mall in Patty's Vintage Gardens booth, I discovered this. And this is how Battenberg fabric is made. So there is a pattern that has been printed on fabric, and see on this side you can see different examples of how to fill in this right here. So this is a tape, it was called tape, and then you sew this. I don't know if it's embroidery, I don't know what the technical term is, but it was printed on the fabric. And I showed you that side also. Let's see, hope you can see. Okay, so right here, do you see all those stitches? That is how the tapes were sewn on. So the tapes were sewn on, and then the middles were filled in, and then when the lady was done making the doily or the collar or whatever she was making, she would then cut the tapes off the back, and that is, or the threads off the back, and that is how the whatever it was that she was making was removed from the pattern. And then of course it could be used over and over again. Isn't that splendid? I just think that is a fantastic idea. And of course we have the number of the pattern, and then the braid, 16 yards, and rings. So those were rings that were, these look like, it was just, yeah, it looks like a blanket stitch was done to it. And then I've got another one here. I mean, look at that. Isn't that crazy? Look how much tape was on there. And again, it was sewn on the back of the pattern, and on this one we've got paper, which is cool too. But here's the number, who made it, and where it was made. And then in here, so up here, so this one right here was like this right here, where there's no extra fabric. It is all just the thread and the tape. But this one right here, when the lady was done with this, she would have taken this off and put linen or cotton in the middle of it to make like a doily. Isn't that splendid? I don't know. I just think that is fantastically cool. All right, moving over here, I've got an incredibly, this is so cool. I'm sorry, I'm going to gush, not going to gush. A very fantastic sewing wicker basket. And I have a whole bunch of stuff in here. Right now I've got all of my fabrics and hexagons and stuff for the hexagon quilts that I have ceased making just because I got tired of it. But someday we'll pick it up again. Isn't that pretty? It's just a woven wicker basket with a handle for easy movage. And another mannequin that can expand to fit the lady's measurements. And then right here for the last, I just want to show you this. This is so cool. Again, my friend Sherry and Louie gave this to me. It is, so this is from, I think it was 1915. Yes, 1915, the Ladies' Home Journal. But right here, it's a So Easy. And what it was, instead of the treadle being the treadle machine, instead of having to use the treadle, they invented this, a pedal. Don't use the treadle, use the pedal. That was me. Haha, so funny. And I have one. I love that it has a foot shape. And at some point in time, someone rewired it to put into a plug-in. And then that would have come from the sewing machine. They would have had to electrify the sewing machine. But when this originated, it had this wiring right here. And that was, sure it's called a name, can't think of it right now. But this would have been plugged into the light socket. So if the house was wired and had a lighting, as you can see, this looks like the end of a light bulb. This would have been screwed into one of the light sockets, and that's how the power came to this contraption. Probably a converter, I'm going to say. So anyway, isn't that, oh, no, this right here. Okay, remember this right here. I'm going to come show you over here. Was this. So this would have been plugged into the sewing machine, and then this would have been plugged into the sewing machine, this would have been plugged into the light socket, and then the lady could have used a pedal to sew. All right, you guys, I hope that you have enjoyed this very long video. I do apologize. Of the sewing things, these are more of my mannequins that are adjustable to put dresses on and work on them. But I do hope you have a good rest of your March, or your month of March. And thank you so much for joining me again on a Curio cabinet tour. And I'll talk to y'all later. Toodaloo!